When you stay too long, you may not grow. In order to grow, sometimes you have to move on. Hello, you all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, first of all, let me show you my beautiful, beautiful day out here today. It is just absolutely gorgeous. I would do my video out here, but the sun occludes the video because this time of the day, the sun is kind of coming in. So it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I hope you're all doing wonderful today. Well, I got to thinking about the subject of if we stay too long somewhere. You know, sometimes we can stay too long in a situation, whether it be a job, a social situation, even a geographical situation, and even sometimes a relationship. And we cannot not any longer grow. Now, sometimes we should stay where we're at. And some people, you know, should probably stay forever where they're at because it's working for them. So we have to differentiate. Is it time to move, or can we continue to grow where we're at? I like to be in situations where I can always grow, whether it's my relationships, whether it is my church, whether it is where I work, whether it's where I go to school, whether no matter what it is, I want to be able to grow. And I also realize that some places and situations have time limited growth. That means we can only grow so far in that situation, and then what happens is we have to make a change. We have to move on. Say perhaps we went to a town and we had a job there, and this job was wonderful and we loved it, and yet we reached as high as we could go on that job and we could no longer grow. We would have to stay at that level indefinitely. And if we want to progress, if we want to grow higher, we may have to move out of that town to a place where we can find the kind of job that we can grow from that level upward. And some relationships, unfortunately, we've reached the peak in, and we can still keep them, but yet sometimes we need more from a relationship than it's able to give us. Now, I'm not talking about a marriage relationship or anything like that. I'm just talking about sometimes we buddy up with somebody because we have a lot in common, and then that a lot in common changes and we no longer have or create anything much in common. And so we can still be great friends, and yet sometimes we move on to other friendships and we still keep that friendship too. But we're just not giving the same amount of time and energy to it. There can be, perhaps we went to a church and we got a lot from that church, but maybe the preacher left and another preacher came in and we don't feel like we're growing and we've given it plenty of time. We may want to change churches. It could be a social group that we've reached the peak and we're kind of bored with what we're doing. Boredom is sometimes just telling us that we need to move on or we need to change something. Discontent is the same way. When we're discontented, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to move. It means that likely we need to change something, even if it's just changing something or refining something or tweaking something, and for the better. And sometimes we're not meant to move on. We're meant to work with what we have. I remember this one actress who was on a soap opera for many, many, many years, and she stayed on that soap opera until it ended. And she was so successful because she stayed in place. A lot of people left that soap opera never to be seen or heard again on television. So, there are some places that we can continue to grow where we're planted, and some places that if we move to, we're not going to grow. Whereas other times we've grown as far as we can grow in an environment or situation, and we need to make a change. So I'm always cognizant, am I in the right college? For how long will I be there? Will I change colleges? Because you all know at 62 years old, I went back to college. Now, the neighborhood I live in and where I live, I love, love, love. I never want to move. I'm always here. I love it. It's a great place. I can grow. It has everything I want for this season and my future seasons of my life, as far as I can tell. Will I change churches? You never know. Sometimes I may change because my needs are different. It doesn't mean that something's wrong because we make a change. It just means sometimes our needs are different. Sometimes in order for us to grow in the way that we want, we have to make changes. And so I'm always cognizant, am I where I need to be to grow? Even virtually. Sometimes we'll go to different channels or different sites and, we're really all into them for a while. And then we've got what we needed to be where we need to be, and yet we feel like we can't grow anymore, so we kind of go to a different channel or a different social medium or whatever so that we can grow. Doesn't make anything bad, it just means we got what we could get, and now it's time to move on, okay? And so we have to know when to stay and when to go. From my house to yours, may God bless you, and I hope to talk to you soon again.